Good day, folks. Welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. We're continuing in our 7-part series, How to Monitor and Evaluate a Project. Today, we're doing part 4, Development of Data Collection Tools. But before we do so, as usual, please, guys, download these 2 free ebooks. One is Learn Logical Framework Analysis Step by Step Guide. Then you've got the Monitoring and Evaluation Beginner's Guide 2020. I want you to download these free ebooks because they're meant for you. Then also, please do well to enroll in this course, How to Set Up a Monitoring and Evaluation System. It's a good course. I won't talk much about it. It's very cheap. If you're here for the first time, please take advantage of this course. As usual, this is a long video. Please make good use of the timestamps because those timestamps are meant to improve your experience as you watch this video. If in case you don't want to watch the whole video, you can skip certain parts of it so that you get the maximum benefit from the content.
Planning to leave for? Maybe
Okay,
my parents'
so now
suspicions are
the
right.
keywords. I always start with the keywords. Data collection tools. What are we talking about? Well, a data collection tool, guys, is an instrument used to collect data on the indicators, okay? So remember in the previous presentation, I really talked about this. I talked about the indicators as a very important part of what we do as M&D professionals. So now in order to get that information that you're looking for, you need an instrument. Let me give you an example. Take, for instance, these surgeons around the world, these surgeons who operate on people that are sick or even plastic surgery, they have different tools they use to carry out their work. So it's the same thing with us. We have instruments that we need to use when it comes to collecting information. So the most common tools in the 10 years that I've been practicing M&E are the forms, all right? Okay, these forms can be digital, all right, and that is where you find people using the mobile platform to collect information. Yeah, I can give you another example. Just a few weeks ago, I was doing a review of a mobile and an M&D online data collection system called Tula Data. Yeah, you can do forms, I'm sure, with them as well. So those are the digital forms. Then you've got the common hard copy forms, the traditional ones which we are more familiar with, which are the questionnaires, which you distribute to different people or stakeholders depending on how they feed into the M&D system. Okay, so I'm sure you remember these indicators. In the previous presentation, I talked a lot about these indicators, and there were about, I think, 34 indicators in the project that we are considering, and I do believe we're going to try to analyze this further. Okay, so with all these indicators, for you to collect information on these indicators, you need the tools, you need the instruments. Okay, that's another, yeah, so these are the same indicators which we were considering in the previous part of this 7-part series. Okay, so there are 34 indicators, and let me tell you something, in many projects there could even be more. If you go to the World Bank website right now, you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of indicators on that website. That's how important it is to collect information. So there's something I wanted to talk about. It is the indicator reference sheets. Okay. You see, indicator reference sheets, these are so important because what you're simply doing is you're trying to explain what these indicators are. Okay. So that you have one standard definition. So this is something which you need to do as M&D professionals. You need to populate this form. Okay, it's not a questionnaire, but it's just a management tool to help you understand what these indicators is. So this, I'll show you an example shortly. Okay, but let's move on. So tips in developing data collection tools. All right. So now the one of the most important things, guys, is you need to refer to the M&D framework. For those of you who don't know what a monitoring and evaluation framework is, it's a framework that is derived from the log frame, okay, but it tells you how each of the indicators will be monitored and evaluated. So it will tell you how the information will be collected, when it will be reported on, who will be reporting it, and it will also explain the baselines. It will give you values on the baseline and the targets, okay, and the results every year. So now what I've noticed is that these frameworks are not always there, okay? And this is where sometimes it can be a challenge for especially M&D officers that are joining a new organization or a new project, but that project doesn't have a framework, okay? So in such cases, you need to develop one. But if there isn't any buy-in from management, and I've seen this a lot, and quite sadly, I don't understand why in this day and age people are resisting monitoring and evaluation when there are so many good things about it. But anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But in case there's resistance to have this framework developed, you need to you need to go to the next point which I've shown here. You need to try to establish how information is collected, okay, for the different indicators. And a good way to establish this, guys, is to determine at what level these indicators are. So in case you may not know this, and but you should know this, is that if you're talking of the high level indicators, these are indicators that are not regularly monitored, okay? And actually, because they are not regularly collected, analyzed, reported on, these are the indicators which are only collected, analyzed, and reported on at the evaluation stage. So if, for instance, your project is scheduled to do a midterm evaluation, that's the best time to have the consultant collect this information. If it's the end line evaluation, that's the time when the consultant can collect this. So I'm talking about the out impact indicators and outcome indicators. Those are the high level indicators. So you need to determine that so that you know exactly whether it is really your role to develop the tools for these, the data collection tools for these indicators. Because if these are being collected from the by the consultant, then the consultant will develop the tools so that they can collect the data on them. But there's another side to it. I'm sorry I'm talking a lot right now. I'm spending a lot, but I want you to understand this. There's another side to it, guys. You see, in as much as evaluations can be done by consultants, but you as an organization can also do your own internal evaluation. All right. So in that case, there is no harm in you developing tools at this level. Okay. And when you do an internal evaluation, what that does, it's just for your internal use. But of course, the consultant can be given finished with the report and they can appreciate and compare notes when they're doing their own collection analysis and reporting. Then when you've got the output indicators and the input indicators, that is where monitoring takes place, okay? So that is where now most organizations have to develop their tools. Okay, so now there are the indicators again. So I wanted us to talk about this particular indicator, number of professionals trained, right? Okay, so that's an indicator that I have thought of maybe using as an example so that you get to understand what exactly we are trying to do, what tool would develop for this indicator, number of professionals trained. So the first thing you need to do before you develop the tool, you need to really brainstorm. Okay, it's really important that you try to brainstorm on this particular indicator. So one of the things which help is uh, is to have, of course, the indicator reference sheets developed for each of the indicators. But in this particular case, you need to also understand what type of indicator this is. Is this a high level indicator or is this the low level indicators? So in your brainstorming session, you discover that trainings, if a project is engaging, if any project is engaging in training of beneficiaries, in training of professionals, whatever trainings. Trainings are activities that are done on a regular basis. They could be done on a weekly basis, they could be done on a monthly basis, depending on the design of the project. So, with such an indicator, you already know that this is your baby, you just need to develop monitoring tools. But then you also need to fully brainstorm that how are these trainings, how often are these trainings done? Okay, because of course that will help you determine how often they should be reported on. And you also need to analyze what dates, who is being trained, whether there are any feedback mechanisms when these trainings are done. Okay, so you're just trying to think outside the box so that you have a tool that is going to be fully appreciated. Okay, so now give me a few seconds, okay, so that we do things in practice, okay? I give you that practical know-how of how it is done, okay? Just a few seconds. Hi guys, welcome back. All right, so now I wanted just to give you an example of the indicator reference sheets, okay? So this is not the data collection tool, but it's something that can help you appreciate why you need these indicator reference sheets and how they relate to your tool. So as you can see here, this is just a simple example. So the indicator that a certain project is measuring is contraceptive prevalence rate for modern methods, okay? Then it goes on to define what this indicator means. So the definition is here, as you can see, okay? So it gives you a precise definition so that if for instance you're an M&D officer, you find a better job somewhere else, the person that will take over your job should have the same understanding of what this indicator is, okay? Then it tells you what unit of measure it is. It tells you the method of calculation. It tells you number of who say they are what. Tells you everything. Okay. So this is also important. The method of calculation helps you appreciate how you're going to calculate. But now let's go to the data collection. Data collection method, National Household Survey of Women of Reproductive Age. So already they're telling you how they collect this information. Okay, so it's really interesting, not so? Okay, so now I'm giving you just some kind of just so that you could understand. But let's look at now how you can apply this to the indicator that I chose. Okay, so now this is a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so you can already see that there is a blank sheet of an indicator reference sheet. So simply what you do is that let's just fill in the areas that are relevant. So remember, we're looking at the number of professionals that are trained. So you just simply type number of professionals trained. Okay, that's all you do. So if this indicator was established in April 2001, fine, you can you can put it there. If it was reviewed in August 24th, 2002, you can also leave it there. Then the definition, okay? You can put in a standard definition and say, um, this is defined as the number of people, whether male or female, who are professionals but have been trained in, let's just think of some other, like in agriculture. Let's just put it as a training definition. Agriculture, okay? So you've given a standard definition. So you say this is defined as the number of people, whether male or female, who are professionals but have been trained in agriculture. Okay. Then let's just go to, so the unit of measure, you can say number. Okay. All right. You're just looking at the number of people. Then the data collection method is, you can say monthly. Monthly, I don't know whether we can say, should we use surveys? Okay, maybe monthly, we can't say monthly surveys, but we can say monthly monitoring visits to the training sites using the monitoring data collection tool. Okay, so you can already see how things are flowing. Then when they say timing and frequency of data, you say frequency of data collection is monthly, okay? You can say monthly. So this is just an example, just so that, but ideally you should fill in everything. So now the point is that after you have filled in everything, you'll be able to see that, okay, this is making sense to me now. So how can this help me come up with a tool? All right. Okay. So you know that this is done monthly and you know that you have to visit training sites. Okay. So let us quickly come up with a data collection tool. Okay. Let us quickly come up with a data collection tool. All right. I'll just create a new page here. Okay. All right, guys, I hope you're not getting bored because this is very important. Okay, I usually like doing things in landscape. Okay, so now it has come to, yeah, there is the landscape. Okay, so you can say, you can title this data collection instruments for monitoring number of trainings. It doesn't need to be this long, but the point is that you just want people to know that what exactly this is. Okay, so now remember in our brainstorming session we were saying that the frequency of data collection could be monthly, not so. Okay, so definitely in your collection of data, you should be able to know the month in which the training was done. Okay, so let's say we put up a box there. I know you it can be any format. Okay, you just do this, put up a box so that you can say, you can be neat, so you can you can say name of M&E officer. Okay, then if let's say you put just the name of M&D officer monitoring, okay, then you can say date. Okay, this is just common information. Then you can say maybe state, training, name of training site, name of training. Okay, sorry about that. Name of training site visited. Okay, you can put it there just like that. Ah, come on. Okay, name of training site visited. Then you can say what else? What else do you need to know? What else do you need to know? There's the date, name of training site visited. Okay, maybe this is just enough for now. Okay, just something like that. Okay, you can have it in whatever format you wish. Okay, there's a box. Then what I usually like to do is maybe if you're going to monitor a number of trainings, you can simply say, you can simply come up with another box. Okay, then you can say, because let's say you're going to collect this information from the training site and they have their own records. Okay, so you can simply say number of males trained. Okay, then you can say number of females trained. Okay, then total, then you just have the number there. Okay, then you probably want to number your things there. Okay, and actually come to think of it, maybe you don't even need to put the name of training site visited. You can actually put it here. Okay, name of training site visited, then you just you can just put it like that. And then actually so you can also get the sense that sometimes it's just about you playing around with things, and you as you do this often you get better at it. Date visited. Okay, 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 then you probably say date of training. You can say date of training. Okay, okay, so you can already get the sense of what's happening here. Then you cancel all that. Okay, so now you can already see the form. You see how beautiful it looks, huh? Because let's say this training is being done at different sites. You as an M&D officer, all you have to do is fill in the data. So if this is a site in a certain project area, you just fill in the information here, the date you visited it, and then maybe you can say signature of M&E officer. Okay, then you put your signature there, and or maybe signature of training officer, let's say, there. And then this is more like a quality control measure. And then you have verified by the M&D officer. Okay, verified by the M&D officer. Okay, so can you see how easy it is to develop a data collection tool? Mm. Can you see how easy it is to develop a data collection tool? So this is just for trainings, number of trainings, but you could see that there are different there are additional indicators that that this project is measuring. So you can actually combine more data on just this one piece of paper, okay, from those other indicators that the project wants to measure. Okay, so you can already see what we're talking about. Because of your brainstorming, you realize that actually you're doing monthly monitoring visits. to the training site. Okay. So now this is you actually have to also put the month. Okay. When it's done, month conducted. Okay, you put the month. Then of course the date is there, but you know how it is, just for consistency. All right. Okay, so guys, I sure hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. Okay, it's not a perfect thing. I've done more complicated data collection tools, but I want you to know that this is the right way to do it. If you have any questions, please write to me. So this is not where it ends. Join me again as we continue understanding how monitoring and evaluation is done. Until we meet again, I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.